Imagine a four herbs ritual that can get rid of nail fungus and restore your confidence. Walk on day. Your nails grow back healthier, stronger, and your skin feels smooth.
La- Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Can I have your attention, please? Can I have your attention, please? Our funeral home has parking in the rear of this building. Anyone that's parked directly across the street in the plaza, please move your cars. They will be towed. So if you're parked directly across the street in the plaza, there's parking in the back. Thank you. Please focus your eyes and ears up front. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Um, Good evening, everyone. Uh, I'd like to say thanks to all who come out tonight to celebrate and honor my good dear friend, not only my friend, but my brother-in-law, my family, my former co-worker, and one of the greatest person that I've ever been around. So thank you all. I can begin just singling out those who have traveled from so far, so near, his present, those co-workers that I'm impressed because I have to tell you, I'm very impressed with all his co-workers that are here, especially co-workers, because I work with him. That's where we begin together. And he is a man who will tell you his mind. And he will give you a signal with his mind. But he was very, very productive, very knowledgeable, and did research. Like I told his sons, the amount of special tools he left in his garage, they could own a living and be millionaires for the rest of their life. Okay? There was nothing that he decided to challenge that he didn't take on. I saw him and I said to him, hey, I don't think we should take on that job. He said, I'm going to tear this BMW down to the block. And he took everything off of it, straight to the block, buy all the special tools. And when it came up, it was running like a champ. He just had that in him, and he could take any challenge. We probably had every Chilton book that was published when we were young. Every Chilton book. And he will always say to me, whether he walking on his Datsun or I'm walking on my bug, he will say to me, hey, listen, we're gonna get this to run. He told me this one day. I said to him, hey, what do you think we waste the most money on? He said, if we had $1 for every engine that we bought, we'd be millionaires. And that is true, because when they came out with a Harley, switch from Harley to the Weber, right, and the 48 and the Volkswagen, he will go Puerto Rico in the morning and come back the afternoon and have every new part that came out for a Datsun. Every new head or crank that came out for a Volkswagen, he will have it. And I said to him, hey, man, we're spending too much money. He said to me, hey, you spend a lot of money on a horse, we could have fun in the car. And I could say this, and those something quite will remember this. He had a light blue Datsun. And when he finished working on that little Datsun, when you drop second gear in it, the front came off the ground. As he was just that talented. But hey, where's the first good thing? I want to begin by, and while he's getting that, could you go back to the first one? While he's getting that, I have to say, to show you what type of person he is, I stopped communicating with a farmer, good friend, and co-worker of him and I. And he called me one day and he said, hey, our friend had an operation. I want you to pray for him. And I also want you to call him and tell him you forgive him. I said, Blau, let me tell you something, because I called him Blau. I said, Blau, let me tell you something. I'm going to pray for him. But what he do me, he got to wait till he sees St. Peter to get forgiveness. And he said, man, he said, sometimes I can't. But one thing I give him credit for, you knew where he stood on anything that you cross him with. You knew where he stood, okay? For the good or the bad. tell you about a thing, as a matter of fact, 2012. I said, Blau, you know one thing we haven't done? We haven't gone to a Kentucky Derby or a Preakness or a Belmont. So that year, the horse won the Derby and the Preakness. Oh man, we're going to the Derby. We want to see this Triple Crown runner. We got to go to the Derby. On our way to the airport, they scratched the horse that Friday. I'm pissed. I'm not going to New York. He said, nope, you going to New York. We're going to have a good time. We got into New York, and the person who was supposed to pick us up wasn't there. And he said, what are we going to do? I said, we catch a train, we catch a bus, we're going to walk, we get a hotel, but we're going to have a good time. We end up at the track. And I'm telling you, whether it was Calda, Gulfstream, Cinquay, I never lost so much money one day on the racetrack. Okay? Now I'm pissed. I said, Blau, man, you see much money I lose? I said, hey, you know what, Blau? I got $500 in my pocket. You have enough money for us to pay the train and the bus to get home? He said, yeah. I said, okay, you know what? Let's go to the pari-neutral. And I took out the money, $500, then I shake out my pocket. So we betting everything on this particular, specifically, I said, I'm betting on Johnny Velasquez. And he said, are you joking? I said, every penny. I said, I already lost everything today. I never lose like this. And you go back and see it. The race was a photo finish. They said, hold your tickets. Okay? And they took like 10, 15 minutes to decide who was the winner. I say, well, I keep in this as a souvenir. And then I look at him and I said, no souvenir. We're going down to the pari-neutral. When we went down to the pari-neutral, I never won so much money at one time, neither. Okay? I got down to the pari-neutral and I gave the lady the ticket. She said, hey, stop. You need to go to the IRS first. With this kind of winning, they're going to take out their 28%, and then they're going to give you the rest to come to us, right? I said, Blau, you could believe this. I losing all day. The government didn't do nothing for me. And now I win money, right? They come and they want their 28%. We went over to the window and I gave the lady the slip from the IRS. She said, do you want a check or cash? I said, miss, I want cash. She said, well, you know, you could get robbed. She tried to come. I said, I want cash. And I turned to him and said, hey, Blau, you want a drink? Because he used to drink. He said, I don't want a drink. I said, Blau, we got to do something. Because I said, only a guy like you will support me doing something this crazy. Okay? But I must admit, he never took the drink. But that is the kind of encouraging partner that I had. He wouldn't say, hey, if you want to do it, oh, you shouldn't do it, I'll give you 10 reasons why you shouldn't do it. He just go along with you. Now I'm going to change it up a lot because, and by the way, so that you all know, I refused to write the script. I just pulled some old pictures from him and I. Some were so old that we just had to pull them back. Like that picture there, that is the university that we went to, that I met Blau. That was the old Martin Marietta plant in Cinquay. Okay, for those who from the Virgin Islands, they will know it was the second largest aluminum producing plant in the world. Okay, and for those who on the technical field where Louis came from, it had 6 turbines, 4 boiler, including the only coal fire unit in the Caribbean in the 80s. Okay. No, don't. When I finish, you could speak. But you're not going to speak while I'm speaking. I'm sorry. No point point not accepted at this time. And we began there. Next, we began there in 1978. Matt Merita had so much problems getting good. Oh, that's when I first met him. That was Blau. That's what we call him. That was Blau. That is a picture that I took from when we began as apprentice. Oh, that is a real Blau guy right there. Do you know what we call him? Gaddafi in the plan. Now I could be interrupted to be reminded that. Yes, that is Gaddafi. The Blau Gaddafi, okay? Now, this one photo right in here is the great Blau Gaddafi, okay? For those who know it, that is me right there. That is Kitch Collins and Junior Peterson, okay? And that is October of 1978, okay? That is us when that picture was taken when we was beginning our instrument apprenticeship program, okay? Right here, I put this because for the technical people in here, right? You won't believe that the type of equipment, whether it was magnetmeters, deadweight tester, test panel, electronic meter, that they had in the Virgin Islands back when we began. And I used to say to him, hey, look at this, man. We in the university, technical university, the only thing I didn't like, and I must admit, was I did not like as an apprentice, you got the dirty work. You run the pipe, the air pipe, the pneumatic pipe, you run conduit and you pull wire. And they normally will let you help them when they're high potting or mega rain. But most of the grunt work, you the apprentice in the first 6 months, you doing all the pipe and pulling the wire and everything. But he was not a man to complain. As a matter of fact, he was the one who encouraged us when we looking to complain, okay? I go to this now. When the plant closed in 85, I decided that I'm gonna move. And I went to Orlando. Blau came to visit me. And while he was there, a contractor said to me, if you could find me an instrument, I have a plant in Virginia with serious problem. If you could find me a tech with your similar background, man, I will hire him today. I went home, I said, Blau, I know somebody need a technician, but you on vacation. I said, if you're willing to pay you your ticket and a little bonus, would you consider it? He said, up the road we going. He said, tell him tomorrow morning I'm ready. This is the truth. The flight that afternoon, Blau was on his way to Virginia to the plant. He wasn't even on the man parole, and the man got Blau a nice hotel. I told him, I said, listen, we are above the Motel 8 and 6 and them type of thing. You got to give my partner a good hotel. Okay? So Blau go up there, he got his rental car and his nice hotel. And he solved the man problem. The man called me the next night and he said to me, you got to convince this guy to come and work for me. I said, if you pay him the right money, that will convince him. I don't need to convince him. You need to pay him the right money. And him and Blau cut a deal and Blau came back. And I'm telling you, Blau have worked for him from Boston to the Keys. He did water, sewer, industrial. One of the things, and the guys that work with him now could tell you, he used to say to me, I'm not the DCS guy. I'm the outside guy. Once I check it to that, it's their problem. I said, Blau, you got to be diversified. I said, Blau, you as a man could work on Modicon, you could work on Fisher and Porter, you could work on Honeywell, you could work on Bailey. And I said, you know what the good thing is, Blau? We even had them set up in the shopping sink, right? So we could test them. So I said, Blau, trust me, you're way ahead. He said, no, I'm the field. He said, next thing, I'm sitting in there in air condition. I don't want to do that. So when he was on the road, I said, well, if my friend could work for them, him and I could work together. So I got him at the Council of Two project with me. Because I said, hey, at the time, the Council of Two project was one of the biggest distribution center reclaim system, water reclaim center in the world, not only in Florida, in the world. It was the first project in Florida, in the United States, to be permitted by EPA to put reclaimed water from the sewer plant on edible crops. So Blau said, hey, I come in to work with you. And when people say Florida don't freeze, this is a good example. This is around 10 o'clock in the morning in Orlando, Florida. Okay, that is and that is in the mid-90s, around 94. That is freeze protection for the citrus. That time, citrus was king. This is Blau because I go out to complain to him about a problem for the night. He picked one of these off, okay? He didn't give me the finger, but he gave me this. And I took a picture of him, okay? Right? You could see he picked it from one of those, and he said, we survived the freeze. We didn't lose any glove. You come out here beating me up. And he went and pulled one of those and hold it up in front of me. Okay, and I said, okay, Blau, I get the message. We survived the freeze. It's time for us to go and eat and enjoy it. This one is a little family. He's married to my sister, my brother-in-law, and I could tell you all in here, straight up, most people in here would like to charge some of these family members nowadays, especially brother and sister-in-law. I surprised Blau didn't charge me because Blau was one of the best you could ever have in your family. And I'm not going to discuss it today because when you read the booklet tomorrow, you're going to read about all the macaroni and cheese, and you're going to read about all the, and by the way, he will be coming off a 12-hour shift. And you could ask the soccer players in here, when the game done and they come home, Blau got pizza, breadstick, anything they want to eat, and drinks waiting on them. And for who don't eat it, he already done got his pressure cooker rolling with his skunk, right? Yes, and his mac and cheese and his potato salad. One remind me, don't forget the special yellow rice, okay? So he was very good at that, right? And the reason I'm doing this little presentation, because everybody be sad, but I have to say, we had great times, okay? Great times, okay? This one here was at Leah's graduation. And her mother said, oh, you know how these mothers say, oh, I have to get a picture. Leah said, hey, you stop right there. Don't interrupt me and daddy, okay? I want it with him and I. And you know who was there to take the picture? So, okay? So I put that to show you his involvement, right? And how he loved the kids, right? That you know when the kid said to the mother, you stay over there. Don't get in this picture. Because my memory, I want it with him and I. Okay? And this one, that's where she now comes in. Okay? Right. Okay? We go here and I show the love and the support. And by the way, now that I see him in that blue shirt, he hates one thing with him. I will stay in the mall for 8 hours. He is not going to be in the mall for 8 seconds. He said to me, where are you going? I said, I think I'm going to Burlington, or I'm going to Dillard's, or I'm going to Ross. He said, not me with you, I'll stay home. What you need walk on the car? Is something in the house? I'm not going with you because you're not going to drag me through the mall all day. And I got to admit, when he wanted something, you see that blue shirt? I'll never forget, he said, I want a blue shirt. I'm wearing a blue shirt to Leah graduation. So I tried to trick him to take him to Dillard's. And I want to get it. He said, no. Let's go in Macy's. When we got in Macy's, the shirt was over $60-something. He said, this is the shirt I want. I said, oh my God, you're gonna pay. He walked up and the lady said, oh, they got 50% on it. He did get the 50%, okay? And he wore it to that. The next morning, I went to Burlington and I bought the same shirt by the same manufacturer for $19.99. He said, that's your problem. I already wore my shirt. Okay? Again, whether it's the big kids, whether it's them or Elvin, he's there. He just loved his family and supported them and pushed them through education. Okay? I used to say to him all the time, hey, Blau, if you and I were engineers, you imagine how much money we'll make? He said, you imagine the stupid thing me and you will be designing? He said, then you, people like you, because when I was in management, he said, it's people like you that cut out people over time. Okay? And I said, okay, but I get the picture, I'll leave that alone. Please. Okay. And there is his twins. Oh, got to admit, when he got his twins, he was in heaven. And I'm going to say it publicly so that they know I said it, so that they don't hear I said it. Okay? He loved his twins. Okay? And I'm telling you right now, right? If it's anything Blah would have given them is not only to shut off his back. Okay? He would have, I used to say to him, man, you got to give them boys some hard work. When you're outside walking on the car, blah, 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 blah. He said, no, I don't have to give them hard. I am not making decision for them. Nobody made it for me when I was young, and I will guide them. But I'm not. But he'll do anything for them. Okay? He loved them to death. And Nicole, I won't miss you out because I'm going to tell you just how he loved them. I said, when Blau had his little black Jetta, and this was in the 80s. Lowrider, you know. He's riding along with Nicole in his lowrider, blackout. Okay? I mean, in today, he loved his family. It go way back. Now, I have to admit, there are friends, and there are those who want to be friends. And I said this too, and the reason I put that up, okay, is because I was just going through the picture with Blau and I, right? And I said, hey, Blau, I said to myself, you know what? I'm going to send her this picture, okay? And not only did I send it to her, I told her I'm going to put it in my presentation, okay? Because even to today, she's still Blau friend, okay? And I'm going to add some friends to the list. Well, those who get missed out, don't get upset because I ain't writing nothing down. I'm telling you, his friend Webster is here. His friend Ruben is here. And none of them live in Florida. Okay? But these are people who been with Blau from when he was blowing sax, when he was playing in the band. Okay? Because Blau was a musician too. Blau was an all-around man, Tysonics man. Okay? And those guys being Blau friend from then until today. Okay? Even me didn't recognize Frankie Webster tonight. But after he told me who he was, I know. Because I know Blau way back when Blau was a saxman and the man used to freelance. Okay? And he could have blown, right? Now, okay? Or good friend. Okay? And I never get between she and Blau. Okay? The good thing is she moved to Florida. Blau came out of public and he said, you wouldn't believe who I see today. Okay? And I said, who? I says, Kate. Did you get her number? Just anytime you see Blau watch you, okay, you don't want him give you the signal behind the watch. Leave it alone. Okay? And and for years she lived here. And the only time I got in contact was when now that Blau passed away. But Blau always met her someplace in Miramar or in between. I think. So that is just to give you all a basic insight. Okay, nothing in a chronological order, nothing special. My friend was my friend. We start out at that end. And by the way, that's when we were doing everything that you parents in here and tell kids don't do. Okay? Oh, yes. We were doing it and we were having fun doing it. Okay? Okay? We were having fun doing it. A friend, I'm going to say because his wife is here, she can't deny this. A friend I have to say, he loved his St. Croix Agriculture Fair. Never miss a fair. That was his thing. And instead of just ending it, I have to say, he went to St. Croix the last time and he ran into some ladies that were friends of his at the agriculture fair. When he came back, he said, man, I had a ball at the agriculture. I said, what did you have so? He said, man, I meet some old friend and from Concordia. And he said, we talk things. They remind me of all the crazy things we do and the fun we had. He said, I also went on the beach and I had a great time. I met all my friends, the Webster family, the Brown family, all my friends. And he said, I had a ball. He said, man, you should have come. I said, man, I missed that one, but we're going back. And we been planning on going back. Oh my God. Okay. But I personally called him and said, you all made love, had the last good, fun agriculture fair. And he enjoyed it. Okay. And I could say, if you're lucky to have a friend like Blau, cherish them. Be upfront. Even Blau he may not appear that way, but he was the forgiving guy who gonna move on. He tell me plain, I'm moving on whether you agree with me or not. Okay? And I used to like that about him. I used to like it. When he don't like something, you do it. When he agree with you, he gonna support you 100%. Okay? And I thank God for a friend like him. May he rest in peace. May God comfort his family and all you in here, right? And I would like to say a special, special thanks to the support that his present co-workers have given the family. I would like to finish it, but I have to say this. I'm driving down the road with my sister. I said, did you call his job and tell them? And she said, oh, let me do that now. Hello? I'm Eula, I'm Romero. She said, oh, we heard, so sorry. She gave her apology, right? And me, the one who I was jumping in, hey, what about the lady that used to work with you from the Virgin? Oh, she's working in another place, but she be informed. They have been so supportive of this family, okay? I don't know why, I must admit, I'm not here to beat up nobody. But when you're in the business that him and I been in, it's all about the bottom line. If the turbine running and producing, you so far down on the bottom line, they ain't worrying about you. As long as they're making money. But I have to say that this company have shown me there is still some places out there that you could work for that really believe in you and support you. And they have been very supportive. And I want to say thank you on behalf of the family. We really, really appreciate it. And so that you all could see what I'm talking about, I would just like to show you what percentage of his co-workers showed up here at a viewing tonight. Gentlemen, could you and ladies, could you just raise your hand so that I can acknowledge how much of his co-workers have shown up? Thank you very, very much. Okay? Thank you very much. Thank you all, and may God be with us all. Rest in peace, my dear friend. Okay? And Ellen, please forgive me. I understand the pain. Okay? I didn't mean to anyway minimize your pain. But trust me, Blau wants us to mourn him, but love him. And remember, who said that? You just got an A in the class. Okay? Because that is exactly what I told Ellen. Thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you so very much, brother. At this point in time, the family has asked me to open up the mic Any friends, families that would like to share as I knew him? I'm gonna try and limit it to 2 minutes if you can. Mic is yours. If you'd like to form a line, just come right here and just step forward, please.
Thank you. Yeah, my name is Denise Boy. I am Patsy's sister. I'm sorry, Patsy cousin. The reason I had to be here today is that Patsy, my husband just died in New York. In Pennsylvania, I'm sorry. Very nervous because this is unbelievable. I just last saw Blau at one of our aunt funeral in Tortola, and him and I were sitting together the whole time. And I was a little bit worried because Patsy was off on the side with other cousins. And although she never looked at me, I was worried because I know Patsy know I like white man too. and, and I'll tell you a story about that Bill was laughing at everything I said. And it doesn't matter what I said, but there was a point when I said, you remind me of my husband. At that time, my husband didn't die. He died after that. So he said, oh, yeah. I said, yeah, I've been in New York since I was a child, and where my mom lived, because it's not that we choose them, it's where our mom lived. We have a lot of, it's more white people than there is complexion, and which was good for me because I didn't have the black man butt. So I'm glad I found someone that likes skinny girls. At that time, I'm thicker now, but I was slim then. I'm in my 50s. But anyway, I remember I stopped now and I say, yeah, because, my husband white. And he said, you're white? Okay. Where is he from? I said, yeah, he's from Philadelphia, but he ghetto, they ain't like, it's, island people. We date who we like. Ain't like you're white, you're up here. We don't get a lucky. We will get it from the same John as me, right? So he said, Brown said to me, look, me and like man, yes. Yeah, he American. So what you like me, you talk like me, you sound like me. Something you say. But he was just having a good old time, and I'm just so sad, and I'm so sad, and I'm so sad. I just got in here from Philadelphia today, just a little like 5:30. And I remember I spoke to Patsy because she just came up to Pennsylvania to my husband's funeral. But my husband's death was expected. God prepared me from November 30th. We had a house fire. So he prepared me for many, many months. And my husband died February 18. And we buried him March 7. And Patsy and Diane came. And I was so surprised. I was so surprised. And there's no way. When I heard that her husband passed, listen, I'm still broken, especially that it wasn't expected. So I know the devastation. I know the grievance that she's going to go through. I know that. And I just want to let her know that as a family, Patsy, we love you. You're not going through it alone. I bought when, of course, we from the island. I remind my family that my husband was American. He's telling me to stop, right? But my husband was American. He didn't know who Denise was, right? So my husband was American. I remind my family that please, I don't act up at this funeral. It's all American. We don't be only island people. Of course, they act up, right? So my family at the repast, one of my husband managers made a banana cake or pudding. I don't know what it was. But Diane took one piece and she picked up the whole tray. And she said, y'all, I ain't getting none of this. So I want them to know that I had that same manager make a banana cake last night for you guys. And I brought it up with me. It might not look the same, kind of look squish, right? But that's how much we love you. My sister couldn't be here. We're just like you guys, me and Diane always together. But we love you and we're here for you and we love Blau. And Blau fit right in. but I have to say that I'm excited that my husband is gonna have a friend in heaven. And I know he and Blau is gonna speak, and Blau is gonna say, how the hell you do that girl? I know that she's very common the same, right? We're controlling humans, but anyway. Thank you guys for allowing me.
You're welcome. Will there be another? Someone?
Good night, everybody. I just wanted to thank everybody for coming out for my dad, cause nah, shit, y'all. Cause growing up, my dad didn't even want no funeral for real. So just to see the turn up, I appreciate it a lot. For real. That's all I'm saying.
Um, I'm from Tortola, like I told you when I came, but I live in St. Thomas from like when I was 10. But in the 70s, when I was 12, I started playing pan, and I became known as the Born in Steel. And therefore, and then I got a big majorette troupe for children and for big people. So I had two troops, one for Children Day and one for Big People Day. I first encountered Blau by this picture now. Only now I notice him by this picture. He was among those guys from Martin Marietta who brought me, I think it was 1,000 blue pants, because my bonus steals in 5 years in a row from 73 and up till 80, we win first place in the Big People Parade and the Children Parade. But this picture, because of this picture here, he was among those guys who brought the pants as a donation for the bonus steals in St. Thomas, because we had an invitation to Macy's Parade in New York, but it never happened. That's what I was trying to explain to my cousin, because that's how I was very thankful to have seen this picture. If I didn't see this young picture, I would not have known that it was him. But now I recognize him, and thank you very much, Blau. I actually made those pans, and they called me Born in Steel because I was a child, 12 years old, and I didn't have no money, but some garbage pans and a hammer. And all day after school, they hear me pong, 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 pong. And I didn't have no tuning pipe. And people would say, where is the tuning pipe? I say, I don't got money for that. Just a hammer and some steel pans. And when we were going to Macy's, he was among those guys who come St. Thomas from St. Croix with those blue pants. Thank you.
The mic is still open, ladies and gentlemen. Anyone from the company would like to come forward and say a few words? Senora?
Thank you. I'm not from the company. Oh, yeah, not a company. My name is Frank Webster, and I just want to talk about Blau in his formative years. I met Blau in the 6th grade, and we were friends all through high school and beyond. We did a lot of things. We started taking music lessons in the 7th grade. He picked up the saxophone. I played the trombone. And by the 9th grade, we had a band, and we used to practice at my mom's house. And then we started attracting other people, and we started a band. We played, and we had, we not only had a band, but we also had a singing group and, the whole Jackson 5 stuff. And we had a great life. And it was a very exciting life. And as I was listening to all the conversations about, the man that he had become, I'm not surprised, because I know that, I've always been somewhat of a bookworm, and so Blau was as well. And when I left, I really wanted Blau to, and I thought that he would, travel abroad as I did, but he stayed behind. And so I'm very happy to see that, how well he did. And over the years, we'll talk off and on, but, I didn't really, he's a man of very few words. And he's always been that way. And, I'm just so happy to see, his wonderful family, his kids. I met his son. I met his wife, and we met back in the 90s, right? Or something like that, first time. And I was just kind of so happy for him that he was able to get out of St. Croix and, do something wonderful. And a little thing about Blau, both Blau and I were valedictorians in the 8th grade. By the time we got to the 9th grade, we just spent more time hanging with the guys, working on our music, and so we just didn't do a lot of academic stuff. But he had the brain power to do just as much as he did. And we just kind of made it through high school. But I think that after high school, I think we both applied ourselves. And so I'm so happy that for his outcome. Unfortunately, some of our colleagues did not, but Blau did. And he was a very successful, deserving individual. And we always talked about getting together. Last time I saw him was last year at the agriculture fair. It was around the time that my mom died. And we got together and we had a great time. And he was just, so happy. And when I heard he passed away, it really, it was tough. And as a matter of fact, I was in St. Croix when I got the news. And so I had to drop everything and fly home to Atlanta and pack and come down here because there's no way in the world that I was not going to be able to come and see and say goodbye to him. And I did not expect this. And so it's tough. Thank you very much. Well, yes.
Not everybody. My name is Joe. I worked with Louis for almost 20 years. We always look forward for him coming down to the control room because we always knew he had stories, always good conversations. He always made us laugh. And like I said, we never refer to each other as co-workers, but actually friends. But like it was said, what you saw is what you get with him. He was honest. He spoke his mind. And that's why everybody loved him at work. There's no day that goes by that we always look at where he sits down. Used to sit down at the control room and come down and talk to us. It's gonna be rough, but we'll get through it. And I'm sorry we didn't have the privilege to know each other, but just want to let you know that he was dearly loved at the company and he'll be dearly missed.
Will there be another
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to say that my grandfather was not just a grandfather, he was a guardian, a caregiver, one of my favorite people in this whole world. To see him now in this casket, I tried to get past it by telling myself the last thing he would want was for all of these people to worry about him just constantly all the time. I told myself, just mourn and love and move. That's all he would want. But I feel like he would just want me. He would want us. He would want all of us to just. He wants all of us to just not worry. But he's. I don't really know what I want to say. But I came up here. I figured I'd say something, cause I I love him a lot. That's all I have to say. I'm sorry.
Will there be another?
Good evening, everybody. I'm Andrew. I'm the oldest brother of three. I'm I've been neighbors with the Romeros for my whole entire life. Since my baby brother was born, since the twins were in diapers, this family has accepted me and my bad brothers for whoever we are. It was who it is. We played soccer our whole lives. I don't even know what to say because they integrated us into their family and we could not have been more than grateful for them. And we did the same with them as well into our family. And we will always love them for ours. We didn't call him Lewis. We didn't call him Blau. We called him mom and dad because they're literally our second parents. And we are so sad to see him gone. Thank you for everything you've ever done for me and my brothers. Thank you so much, both of you. We appreciate you.
Good afternoon. I'm his youngest brother. That man saved my life when he took me out of St. Croix. I was gone. A lot of people don't know me. But Junie tell me some Belto. If you don't stop doing what you're doing, I gonna tell mommy. And I gonna tell everybody the truth. That day alone make me wake up. Junie bring me here to Florida. I had $20 in my pocket. Stay with my mother. Stay with he. We sleep in the same room. Let me tell you, a little babies. Until we became grown man. He got his beautiful kids and I got my children. Got my brothers, my sister, my niece. But I gonna tell you all something. If it wasn't for him, I would not be here today. And it really hurts me to see my brother gone. But he honest. I could do but praise him because he saved Belto life. A lot of people don't know it. This is my son. And he come here to keep me strong because he knows what went on. He knows the story. I'm not letting everybody know what happened. But I give thanks to my brother Junie that I am here. He's gone. Can't call you no more and said, Junie, how you doing? He said, Belto, are you all right? You? You see mommy? Say, yeah. How mommy doing? That's before mommy died. And then the last time we see each other, we said we need to stay in touch. And we used to stay in touch, but we never talk. It used to be like, you all right? Yeah, how did you run them? She run them okay. Tell them I love them. Say, okay, Junior, I'm gonna let him know. A lot of people don't know that, but it's the truth. I owe my life to that brother right there. And I want everybody here to know it wasn't easy to hear that my brother dead. That hurt me. Here, I lost so much in these last few years. A lot of people don't know. That one day, this my other brother, that's my sister. But he used to, you know what you're doing? You sure you know what you're doing? Yeah, Junior, I know what you're doing. All right, go ahead. See, I tell you behind you, you know what the hell you're doing. You need my help, come. For real. But I gonna tell her the truth. Make him see the angels and the angels keep him safe, Lord. Because Junie gone. Can't call Junie no more. Love you, my brother. Thank you all for coming.
My name is Eldon. I'm the oldest of all of Daddy's kids. I'm trying to stay calm. Growing up, I made a lot of rough decisions. Daddy was the one that always set me straight, kept me on the straight and narrow. I wouldn't be as calm or as calculating if it wasn't for Daddy. Daddy made sure that I never bit off more than I could chew. Daddy made sure that I showed due care for everyone around me. I guess in just he made sure that I became the man that I should be for the people around me, including my kids. I guess rolling that out, I had kids before I had kids, and some of them are here. Grown, 24, 25 years old. And if it wasn't for Daddy, I wouldn't have been able to lead anybody. The calmness and the smiling and the community that I try to preach, it all comes from Daddy. Like Uncle Balto said, if it wasn't for him, I'm not sure where I would be. And I'm sure that my decision making wouldn't have been as good. Because Daddy was that guy. For the people that don't know Daddy personally, calm, very calm. He cracks a joke at the right time, perfect timing. He led a household. He didn't need an iron fist. He didn't need abusive words. He didn't need an aggressive tone. He told you the right thing at the right time, every time. And I trusted him more than any other man on the planet. So I apologize for my early outbursts, but this is a hard pill to swallow, considering his leadership, the kindness, the compassion. I guess punctuality is something that he had that I'm still trying to nail. But I don't know. There's not enough words that I could say that could properly, I guess, describe the man that's laying here. It feels like a dream. I'm not sure how this is going to work, but I know I had to make sure to make it up here to give him his flowers. I gave him his flowers as much as I could, as often as I could. I think the last time I saw him, I was giving him his flowers again, and I feel like I haven't given him enough, or still. Because I'm telling you guys, I don't know if you guys knew him, but if you know him, you'll understand what I'm talking about when I say this guy. If you are in a way, he makes sure to set you straight. If you needed something, even if he barely knew you, he'd take you in. He's feeding you. He's literally sheltered people that are not blood tied. And he barely knew them at times. But Daddy always told me everybody needs somebody. And Daddy always told me, Eldon, don't worry about it because everybody falls on hard times and they need that one person to try to pick them up out of that rut. You seem to be the guy, so be the guy. So, Daddy, I will be.
Hello, everyone. My name is Josiah. I am the oldest child of my mother. I came up here to give my respects to him. He was the most kindest person. I'm really surprised that anyone as nice as him exists, and I'm so sad that he's gone. He always made sure that I was fed, ate, made sure every time after practice, we'd always go to the house. He'd always be on the couch. Always say good afternoon or good night. Always say it back. He's the most kindest person ever. I wish I got to know him more. I, re I really do. Most kindest person ever. And to everybody here, thank you all for coming. Uh, sorry, I'm really emotional. Uh, yeah.
Um, my name is Crystal. I am Eldon's fiance, Daddy's oldest son. I'm like, I figure I might as well say something. But there really are no words to describe the heaviness and I guess, the surprise and the sadness up behind his passing. But like everybody's been saying, he was an amazing man. Nothing but peace and positivity. I don't remember anything negative about him. Always generous, always caring, always loving. Um, I will forever ever be grateful for the space of peace that he provided in the home that I would frequent in order to see Eldon when we were younger up until our recent days. But Dad, you will forever be missed. Thank you so much for giving my fiance somebody to look up to, somebody to mirror himself after. I couldn't handpick a better person, role model. And I hope that, you know, with everything that he's taught Eldon, and I've been blessed enough to see that we can instill some of these values in our children moving forward. Thank you, everybody, for coming. I can't say it enough. We are grateful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. But thanks for coming. And what a heartfelt uh, rendition of my buddy. I mean, everybody's is have so much pleasant things to say about him. It's amazing. Anyway, back in '78, they came into the plant. I think there's like four of them as a co-op student, and a lot of people, supervisors were staying out after like a day or two, they would tell me, these guys ain't gonna make it, stuff like that. It's like they question them, and because they were young, they were 20, 21, 20. So, but most of them came with me to learn to understand what's going on, what's all about. So they would come to me and say, "Hey, man, Pete, how this work? How this?" Those are the guys I go to them, and they would say something different. I say, "Okay, I'll teach you. I'll show you guys exactly what to do." So most of them would come to me rather than go to other people, the guys, and so they really stuck to with me and as the mentor and the big brother, sort of thing. So I really happy to see that I now went through this through life and became a professional person. I'm happy for that, and most of the other guys too. So at least I did something right. So, but yeah, when I heard of his illness, I really was distorted, man, because I spoke to him a few months ago. We were supposed to meet up to meet Herman, and hang out, but it didn't work out. So, but yeah, I just want to say that I've heard all the very good things about Blau. You go his family and everything, so which is good, and I really appreciate that. So I I know it's really hard for everyone, and and so I wish everyone should, we all got to go through this sometime, but it's something we never expect, so but I like to say thanks for everyone for coming, and you guys, and have a good evening. Enjoy yourself. All right. Thanks.
Hey, good evening. Well, first of all, I'd like to say, I pray that the family find comfort in a time of grief. But I'm going to give a little history of me and Blau. Well, I met Blau back in between 69 and 70, playing Little League baseball. He played shortstop, no, sorry, second base. I think his brother played in outfield. We were shocked coming from Grove, because we were surprised to see two white boys playing, and a team. I tell you that, that freaked us out. We were just, cause we, not accustomed to seeing no white person playing, with, black players. So I could tell you that they beat us, they slaughtered us. We scored, I think 1 run by walk, which we were happy that we did, and that's my first encounter with Blau and Belto. After that, we went on to high school. I think Blau, he played in Dysonics. This was one of the best calypso band at the time on the island. I didn't really know him like that close until later on. And after that, I should see him going to work at Martin Marietta in the morning. I used to run track, so I used to be on the field most time when he's passing and whatnot. And from that, I didn't see him again until back recently, because in 85, 86, I used to hang with Blau, with Boo, because we used to hang out together sometimes when I was living in Fort Lauderdale. And after that, I went home in 86. I didn't see him again until he came one time to Tatola, and that was the first time I got a chance to really talk to him and really meet him and realize what a nice person he was. He was really calm we say copacetic. You're really copacetic type person, you know, and you know, from that we became, you know, good friends. And each time we come to St. Croix at Tatola and we meet, we sit down and we talk and whatnot. The last time that I saw him was this past year when he came home for the fair. I went and visited him at Patsy and we sat down and we spoke for a while. And then he took a picture with me and Patsy, and that was the last time I really saw him. But he, you know, again, he was a very nice person, and everything that they said about him, believe it, it is true. You know, it's really true. And I was, you know, I'm sad to see him go, but it's life, you know. All of us have to go sometime, and just, you know, we just got, you know, get strength for each other, and, you know, just push on. Life goes on, so we just push on. All right, that's it. Thanks.
Late.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Brandon. Coach mentioned that Pops sheltered a few of us when we were younger. I've never actually gotten to thank him for everything that he's done for me and you guys. Through this man, I've gained a second home, a second family, a father figure, and none of it would have been possible if it wasn't for this man. Andre, where's Kari? Y'all my brothers. I love y'all to the death. Coach, I love you with my own father. And that's through this man. Moms, I appreciate you. I've never said it, but truly, I appreciate you. And I'm sorry.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, as we say, this is the last lot. Last lot. We're just going to open the mic for his sister. She'd like to say a few words. Está bien. Hermano. Está bien. Señora.
I'll try to get through this quietly. Good evening, everyone. Eula. For those of who don't know me, I always say Eula is my government name, and as you could see, I am the official Patsy that everybody is talking about. So I am Blaub's wife, Louis' wife, and I always say we met at Disney, but we didn't really meet at Disney. I knew him before, but he felt that he was attracted to me because we went to Disney as a family trip. And he felt I was looking at him, but I don't know about that. Anyway, he could do everything. My furniture was dirty and needed cleaning. So he said he could clean furniture. I thought, how weird, this man could clean furniture. Anyway, he said he could clean furniture, so he came over to help clean the furniture. So we started to talk, and as you could see, he had that long hair. So he was very pleasant to talk to. So one of my relatives says, well, I think he likes you, but Auntie, I don't know how you're gonna get rid of that long hair. So I used to always tease and say, well, he looked like Jesus Christ, and miracles could happen. And miracles did happen. He slowly got rid of the long hair. He reacclimated himself. That was simply what he did. I can't tell you, he was a 360 man. Could do inside, outside, instrument tech, fix it. The kids say Uncle Blau could fix anything. If they got something to fix, the kid up the street knew that he could cook. The family across the street knew they could count on him. He was always there. The babies know that when they finish eating, you'll see a picture of my grandson. He goes, he laps his foot, he sits with Pop. And it was so sad. He was looking for him the other night. And I'm like, what are you looking for? He's room to room searching. And then it finally hit me when I was laying in my bed. I said, you know what? He was looking for him. Because I kept asking him, what are you looking for? Then he went to the room and said, why are you in that room? He was looking for him. His spirit will be with us. I can't say enough about my husband. You all heard it all up there. Story after story. He always had a joke though. Everything he kind of would take sometimes lightly. When he got serious, he got real serious. But one of the things that made me laugh is when I would say something, he'd say, "Oh, for you it's a hurricane. For me, that's a tropical depression." So I'm like, oh, this man. And then he had his friend, and his friend would come over, and then he said, you see, I would tease and say, I'm country, arms open wide. He said, yeah, well, you gotta look between the line. You got to close your arms sometime. He was, and then coming down to the end, and I share with people, my husband said to me a couple months ago, and because of his joking all the time, he said, you know what? I dreamed that I was dead or I was dying. So me in all response back, I said, quit joking. You're alive, you ain't here talking to me? So he said, no, it's true, you didn't hear me in my sleep last night. And the more I got to thinking about it, these things we reflect. I've been reflecting every morning in the quiet of my own space. And it was him telling me all the time that he was going. When he looked, after he got sick, he looked over at me and said, you think I'm going to make it out of this place? So I look, well, I'm positive. I said, what are you talking about? We going to make it out of this place. So he said to me, I'm going to make it out of this place. Every day is something new. Something new popping up every day. Even when he was going in, the doctor said to him, you got a 50-50 chance. He said, Doc, tell me the truth. What my chance is? He said, doctor said, well, to tell you the truth, it's a 50-50 chance. He said, well, what will happen if I don't do 50? He said, well, if you don't do 50, you're going to dead. And if you do 50, you could still dead. He said, well, if that's the chance, then we go 50-50. What do you think, Pat? I say, hey, if that's what you want to do. But in my mind, I had a lot more swirling. So he looked back at me, and he could connect. He had a sense of discernment that was on key. And he looked at me, he said, you all right? Because he was seeing my face, and I was truly worried. But I can safely, truly in my heart say that I was not prepared for this. I was truly not prepared. I reference the Bible a lot. And when you walk in and call for a miracle, and you feel that a miracle could happen, and you don't get that miracle, this is that song, Where is Your Faith? Where is your faith in God? I am shaken to the core. I could stand up here and talk, but my stomach is hurting. I could talk a lot, but it is painful, painful, painful to see a man that is meaningful, that is useful, that is doing everything in a blink of an eye, literally a blink of an eye. And you call God for a favor. I call in a favor. I say, oh my God, God, I knew you could do everything else but fail. Everything else but fail. I could not believe it. When they take me in a little room to lecture me on the coming. That was it. A man that was great in sports. He got thrown in to be the coach one time with my son's team. He coached. He kept the team behind the scene. He kept the kids. He kept the neighbors' kids. He kept everything going. He did the shopping. The next door neighbor could tell you. I I cannot, there will be no man to fill his shoes. He's a tall order for a short man. I don't see anybody, don't put in your qualification because you see me single. This is not an open reservation. This is a closed job. There's no reservation and the job appointment is closed. It just can't happen. God sent from heaven. I believe in God, but God, I have to say, I feel like I'm in the wilderness. Amongst people, I am in the wilderness. And it's going to take a while to get me out of the wilderness. Because the heart, when I touch my husband tonight, when I touch my husband, when he in his eyes to see them children before he leave earth, this is a man with willpower to just push through. And I don't know what happens in the afterlife, but I feel like sometimes here on earth it's not long enough. But the road ahead could have been worse. We don't know what the future holds, and they claim that we know who holds the future. So we have to depend that it is true that there's an Almighty God who will draw us out of wherever we are at this point. Because I could be here kneeling on my knees and screaming. I am in the middle of people and I don't see no one. That's how I feel about what is here. Leave the happy children behind. I don't know what God has in store for us or have in store for any one of you here in this room. But I want to be grateful to God for the life he gave me and the time I shared with this man that he put on earth to bond with me. I cannot be ungrateful. I cannot stand here and tell anybody that I could be ungrateful. He fit into the family, and my family is quirky. I think they took over spirit. They might have taken over spirit on the way up from the Virgin Islands. Tons of them all over in here tonight. But he fit right in. Fit right in. He even joke about, they used to call him a white man all the time, but you know, he reflect and let him know when he go to the grocery store and the woman say, that white man does talk like me. That was one of his favorite responses, like when he's in Tortola. But when he went say, Christ now, and the people said, oh, they see this white man walking with fire around the white man is. I said, no, you see, you're in your own island, and the people can't figure you out. Except when you talk. But, you know, he was welcome home. He was welcome outside. And we love him. And I can't say enough about his company. Gentlemen from Windways, your support has been tremendous. And I really take it to heart. It is great to see people being human. Human when we take the time to reach out. Human when we take the time to care. Human when we take the time to say, we are going to be an extended family. We don't know you, but you know us now. We make that human connection. This is how we win souls. I mean, one of his co-workers said he's a deacon, and my husband would say, so how much money you collect Sunday? So, you know, the kind of man that he was, everything kind of was a joke on most days. But when he got down to the end, I pray to God that we could have had more years together. I pray and I tell everyone who has a spouse who's in a relationship, cherish those moments. Because you never truly know when it's going to be the last. You know, my husband was going to retire when I retire, which I'm not very far, but I didn't retire yet. And then he stayed on just because he didn't want to be bored. So, you know, cherish the moment and cherish every day you have with that person. God is good. And like I say, I won't complain. I can't complain. I just got to indulge and hope that, yes, this too, this feeling can pass. Because when I tell you it hurts inside, it does. It does. So I want to thank everybody that came up, fly up, send their love, their support, their continued commitment to our family in taking, looking out for the kids. It's great to see my boys in the back, Nico, Andrew. They're all grown up now, all extended family. You know, we adopt everybody. My husband cooked and he adopted everybody. We adopt every kid that came on the soccer team. Literally, if you needed food, you were fed. If the team had a fallout, my husband was a backup water boy. So my son could call him and say, we need extra water, we need a tent, we need a something. And my husband made sure that it was on the scene. He was there and he was Mr. Fix It for real. The car breaks down and it just, in reflection, thanks to our neighbors, our very good neighbors that show up. My friend Averill, who came, and all I could think about, I don't know if you know the story of Job in the wilderness, when his friends came to see him when he had a lot of wounds, and his friends came to see him. They didn't want to come close, and there I was, and all I'm thinking, I was so broken when Averill and her friend came to see, Joycelyn came to see me. I felt like I feel like Job. I am lost. I am like in the wilderness, and there's my two friends. They're sitting in the dark with me because I'm so broken. I don't even know to turn the light on in my house. Honestly, then they just sat there in the dark with me, and for one moment, all your common sense and intelligence went out the window. At least they were thoughtful enough to just indulge me for a minute, because I was depleted. There was nothing left. There was truly nothing left in me. And every morning I question the whole situation. But I can't question God. I I I fail to put that piece together. But where is your faith? My faith is crushed. I mean, Deacon Paul, Deacon, yeah, I think people have been there before. But this one was sudden and it was a crushing blow. And I don't know how this is gonna end. But I just thank God and I thank people. I thank all my people for coming through. All friends, family, outside caring staff, my support staff at Memorial West where I work. Just to see the caringness in people. And to those that weren't so caring, I still pray for them, because I think there's an opportunity for the bad to become good. And let this be an opportunity for all of us to, reach out in your community and support youth activity. And let my husband legend never die. You can support that sports club. That those kids out there, they need somebody. We all need somebody to love. And yes, I will close by saying, in God we trust. Amen.
I'm sorry for being late on this one, but I just have to say that I'm TJ, if you guys don't know me. I'm Eldon's best friend, best brother. Between Andrew, Nico, Corey, Kari, Andre, Aaliyah, and the rest of the family, I was also perfect glue. And I always call myself a good brother to Dad. I don't think I ever told Eldon this, but there's a situation where I was working for Spirit Airlines, and I would always help the family out with tickets and seats and discounts and good things. When I gave Dad a deal one time, he then said to me, "You're my favorite son outside of the family." And that was a day I felt like I could then call him Dad back, and it was appreciated. So I would say to Dad, thank you for that, and the family. Just want to spread love to everybody here, and to say that I love you back, Dad. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, just a note for tomorrow. Mr. Romero will lie in state at the church from 10 to 11, and the service starts at 11. Lastly, I'd like to say that sometimes through your tears of sorrow, you see this curtain fall. But if you believe in God and His way, this curtain will rise again on a fairer scene someday. Ladies and gentlemen, these services are now concluded. You may kindly return to your cars. En el nombre de la familia, un millón de gracias por atender. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, on behalf of this bereaved family, thank you so much for attending, and we will see you tomorrow. We pray that you all drive safe, and we will see you again when the sun shines tomorrow. Amen, and God bless you all.